market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC.
These teenage years can be tricky to navigate, especially when it comes to teaching my son about managing money. I'm thankful for helpful tools like Sidekick from Max. With Sidekick, requesting and rewarding money is easy. He can earn it by completing chores, making honor roll, or simply making a request from his own app. I love that I can easily monitor his purchases and set limits to help him learn to make smart choices with his spending, even on video games. Sidekick, find it in your Max app.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Good morning. Welcome to Today in LA. I'm Forrest Lee. I want to welcome you to the show this first day of November. We have about 54 days left till Christmas, and last night in our neighborhood, we had a plethora of trick-or-treaters, and it was a great evening, and a lot of young children were dressed in their Halloween costumes, and fall festival's in the air. Thanksgiving is around the corner. Let's get to Thanksgiving before we jump to Christmas. But anyway, would like to thank you for joining us this morning. A couple of items locally. There's a Camp Stew sale that benefits the Pike County Salvation Army. It's $10 a quart. Reserve yours today. You can call 808-1069 or stop by the Salvation Army on South Brundage Street. It can be picked up Thursday, November the 3rd. But if you're interested in getting some Camp Stew and supporting the Salvation Army, please do so. Also, they need ringers for Christmas. Ring a bell, help change a life. The Pike County Salvation Army needs you. Again, you can contact 372-0179. That's Miss Donna Kidd. Or you can call the thrift store at 808-1069. Good morning. Welcome to Today in LA.
Hey, morning.
Hey, Michael. And I'm just mentioning about volunteer bell ringers needed for the Salvation Army. Again, you can stop at South Brundage Street at 509 South Brundage Street to volunteer your time, and they'll, give you your store location that you'll be in and all of that. So a lot of big news going on locally and around the state of Alabama and the nation. And
yeah, well, a little bit of big news up at Auburn yesterday.
Right.
Never realized that Cadillac Williams would be the interim head coach, but that's what they decided to do, and kind of all saw the writing on the wall of Brian Hartson. Losing record 2 straight years at Auburn is not going to cut it. So now we wait and see who John Cohen will hire as the new head football coach to lead Auburn here in the future.
Where all has John Cohen been working in the athletic administrative field?
Well, he's been the athletic director of Mississippi State for 8 years. Then after that, he was, before that, he was at Kentucky as a head baseball coach. He used to be the head baseball coach for Mississippi State as well.
So he's got
Southeast background.
He's got Southeastern. Yeah, he's got Southeastern Conference ties. And
yeah, he made I don't know what his salary was in Mississippi State, but he's making a huge raise at Auburn, $1.5 million to be athletic director.
So he's got ties with Kentucky. He's got ties with Mississippi State. So logically, any coach that has ties with either of those programs may have a look, so to speak. And some of the candidates that I saw on Alabama.com, a little website, of course, is Lane Kiffin, who's the current head coach at Ole Miss. You got Hugh Freeze, the coach at Liberty, who just signed a 8-year contract?
Yeah.
With Liberty.
$5 million a year.
You got Kenny Dillingham, who's the offensive coordinator at Oregon. He's had some ties to Auburn. Jamie Chadwell, the Coastal Carolina coach. Jeff Grimes, the Baylor offensive coordinator. His name's in the mix. Matt Rule, the former Baylor, Temple, and Carolina Panthers coach.
Yeah, Carolina Panthers owe him $40 million.
Wow.
So he doesn't really have to coach if he didn't want to.
Right. And they've got listed Deion Sanders, the head coach at Jackson State. He brings a lot of marketability, I guess you'd say.
Well, he also brings a quarterback and his son that would be instantly a starter at Auburn. His son, I think, was a 4 or 5-star out of hospital. Phenomenal numbers in Jackson State.
I think they're like number 4 in offense, number 1 in defense. I kind of read a blurb earlier. But Deion Sanders, the right guy, overnight, you could change your program with the transfer portal. It can change overnight. And the other name mentioned was Kevin Steele. He's the Miami defensive coordinator. And those are the ones that I have.
Well, you got to throw in Dan Mullen for sure. Cohen and Mullen's relationship at Mississippi State, of course, it might be strained because he left Mississippi State to take the Florida job. But, they were together at Mississippi State for several years, and Mullen's doing a lot of commentating on ESPN, does a good job doing that. So that's a name to think about as well. They've also mentioned Mark Stoops at Kentucky. Of course, we don't want Stoops to leave Kentucky because Coach Summerall goes about 10-2, 11-2. He might be their first choice to be the Kentucky coach.
As good as Troy's playing now, very few people thought the turnaround would be as good as it has been this past year. But his personality is dynamic, Coach Summerall. And when you mentioned Florida, I also saw where the head coach at Florida, Billy Napier, announced Monday that they have dismissed veteran starting linebacker Brenton Cox Jr. from the team.
Yeah.
He had started all 32 games of his career with the Gators. And also another controversy and mess. Michigan and Michigan State, there was a little fisticuff in the under the stadium. And that's horrible to see, but you got to have security involved. They go through the same tunnel. And that's a heated rivalry. Stuff's going to be said, and I don't know how they can let the teams go in at the same time. I feel like you'd have to let one go in first, one go in after, and I would imagine that would be Michigan, since it's their home stadium. But I hate that happened. But apparently, Jim Harbaugh yesterday said they're talking about criminal charges. Yeah, they dismissed
Michigan State players.
I think they dismissed 4. But look, did you see what happened before the game? I didn't watch that game, actually. That's one of the few I didn't watch. Well, I saw a replay of a Michigan player just stomping on midfield. Was it played at Michigan or Michigan State?
No, it was at Michigan. It was in the Big House.
Okay, well, anyway, so I don't know what predicated it, but there's no need for that in any kind of sports. So
yeah, it's one of those things where Mel Tucker's already struggling this year. He's making like $9.5 million a year. It looks like he's definitely going to have a losing record. So he's under a lot of pressure at Michigan State. I mean, Hartson yesterday, we didn't even mention the biggest thing. He walks away with $15 million. So I mean, these coaches getting fired. You feel sorry for them, but you kind of don't feel sorry for them because they kind of can sit back and sit here at the beach like me the rest of their lives.
Well, I would send my agent a Christmas card every day of the year.
Yeah.
That's who's the guy whoever's his agent is working that up. And usually the same agent is involved with several coaches. So it's just like I'll come go with this one. And
of course, I didn't become a billionaire last night. Here's my Powerball ticket. Unfortunately, my numbers did not win. I had two right on one line, but that was about it. So it was $1 billion, the Powerball yesterday.
Did somebody?
I was at Watercolor yesterday, at the Publix, and somebody was ordering $1,000 of Powerball tickets. It was a couple that were buying a lot of Powerball tickets for their friends.
Wow.
And I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. I was like, I'm going to go somewhere else to go buy a ticket. I don't know if it rolled over or not. We'll find out here in a little while, I'm sure.
Good. Whew. That's a whole lot of oranges. Going back to Harsin, now with Cadillac Williams, I wonder how well Auburn will play this weekend. Do they travel?
Well, you got to think they play hard for him.
Right. Because their backs are against the wall. They play at Auburn's at Mississippi State. The Southeastern Conference, some of the games I have is Kentucky at Missouri, Florida at Texas A&M, Liberty is at Arkansas, Auburn's at Mississippi State, South Carolina is at Vanderbilt, Alabama at LSU, and Tennessee at Georgia. So it's a full slate of, it's getting to the nitty gritty. And the rest of the country is loaded. For example, Clemson travels to Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame coming off that big win over the weekend over Syracuse. Actually beat them by double digits. And that's Notre Dame, who lost to Marshall, lost to a really poor Stanford team. Really the only team I feel like that can beat Clemson the rest of the season after looking at Clemson's schedule. I really feel like the ACC is watered down tremendously. So we'll see what happens. Louisville's actually playing better, too. They beat Wake Forest over the weekend and blew them out. And Louisville started quarterback's kid from Montgomery.
And James Madison travels to Louisville this weekend.
Okay.
And South Alabama.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of Coastal Carolina Marshall. Coastal looked great against Marshall. And, that's a potential matchup for Troy. If Troy wins this weekend, I feel like their chances are great to win the West because La Monroe at home is really struggling. And then South Alabama went to Arkansas State and beat them 31-3 this weekend. I think Arkansas State's maybe won one game, and that's who Troy would finish out with at Statesboro. Not Statesboro, but Jonesboro.
Right.
So,
Well, we got Louisiana. That's Louisiana Lafayette. What's their record, Michael?
I want to say they're 4-4. What's their record? I'll make sure. I was looking at that the other day, but they got pretty much blown out by Southern Miss this past weekend. Mm-hmm. It was actually on a Thursday night when they played.
Yeah. So we go to Louisiana Lafayette, then a big weekend is going to be next weekend as Army rolls in for Veterans Day weekend. Then University of Louisiana Monroe the next week we host them. Then on the 26th we travel to Arkansas State. Then December the 3rd is the Sun Belt Championship. And where will that take place, Mike? How does that work? The Sun Belt.
But I've always been told is that the team with the best record overall in the Sun Belt, it would be a home game for that team. So whoever's got the best record in conference and the best record as far as rankings is where that game will be determined. So right now, Coastal Carolina would probably be a little bit ahead of Troy in the rankings. But Troy, from what I've seen in USA Today, Troy's number 26 right now in the polls. But it goes to the AP and the coaches polls. So it's going to be close. You can't, Coastal doesn't have a loss to Ole Miss like Troy does. And then Ole Miss, their record being so strong, helps Troy's strength of schedule a lot as well. Mm-hmm. So, Coastal actually lost at home and got handed it to them by Old Dominion, actually. So that's their only loss.
Well, Marshall plays at Old Dominion, but as Army rolls into town next week, Army will host Air Force this weekend. That's who they play.
Oh, wow.
But we gotta, let's beat Louisiana. There's nothing more that they would love to do than upset Troy.
Here's Louisiana Lafayette so far this year. They started the season beat Southeastern Louisiana 24-7. They beat Eastern Michigan. We know Eastern Michigan's quarterback, Taylor Powell. He used to play golf down at the Brundage Country Club, didn't he?
He did. I saw him, yeah.
And then they lost to Rice, 33-21. Rice was not too bad. Shocking loss here. They lost to La Monroe, 21-17. That probably hasn't happened in years. So that's a close loss. And they lost at home to South Alabama by 3. Won at Marshall, 23-13. Then won at Arkansas State. No, won at Lafayette against Arkansas State, 38-18. And then lost to Southern Miss on Thursday night, 39-24. So they're 4-4. Playing Troy at 4 o'clock this weekend at Cajun Field in Lafayette. It will be senior night, so it'll be a big night.
Yeah.
In Lafayette.
How far is that drive, Michael? Would you go down 65 and hit 10? Is that how you would go? How do you go to?
Yeah, I think it's like an hour from New Orleans.
Okay. Toward the Texas side?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
I've actually never made that trip. I think I've been to every stadium in Louisiana except that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, the weather is beautiful here. The way I see it, it's like 48 degrees. And the rest of this week, the highs will be in the low 80s, maybe high 70s, low 80s. For the next several days, it looks like we're going to have a great weekend. And next week looks pretty good. The low temperatures that I'm looking at is somewhere between 48 to 55. So it's beautiful weather in this time of year. Well, it's about...
Yeah, actually a little too warm for me, Forrest. I'll be honest with you. It's been in the 80s down here for several days. And we had that cold snap in October. I told my wife, I was like, it felt amazing. It got down to 42 a couple of nights down here. But I'm not a fan of 80s in November. I want a little bit colder than that.
Yeah. Did y'all have a great time trick-or-treating last night, the girls?
Yeah, I mean, all credit goes to Seaside and that great community. I mean, we are very blessed. We actually rode the shuttle. There's a shuttle out of Grayton that you can take with your kids to either Seaside or down to Great Beach. Of course, they live in Great Beach, so we took the Seaside shuttle last night, jumped in, drove up. Every single restaurant, shop, store, just people in the community were giving out candy. Of course, they have all the food trucks around Seaside, so you got, options of barbecue, hamburgers, Greek food, Chinese food. I mean, it's just, and then you got a great Southern restaurant there, and then I don't know if you've been to Seaside lately over the years, but they blocked it off.
Right.
Where you can't drive through Seaside anymore, so it's such a safe environment for the kids to run around, and we ran into a lot of, kids from school and a lot of the friends from preschool and their parents, so great night at Seaside. Pretty spoiled to have that within a mile from my house, pretty much, to go do that. And, it was a lot of fun for the girls. And I'll be honest, I'm glad Halloween's over. Halloween lasted a long time this year. I think we have 4 or 5 different events.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:21. We're on the Mike Amos Show today in L.A. with Forrest Lee, and Mike's calling in from Florida. And we're going to take a short break, but we want to thank our sponsors, a couple of our sponsors, Trollbaker Trust Company, the Alabama Real Estate Connection, Southern Grill and Patio, First Cahaba Bank, and, of course, Premier Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram of Troy, and Jason Gregory and his staff. We'll be back after these messages.
At cost plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
Wally Sanders Truck Line been in business since 1959 and we'll still growing. We've been in business since 1959 and we'll still growing. Wally Sanders Truck Line. From 1959 to 2022, we'll still growing. How many years is that, Mr. Glenn? 63. Ricky, why this T680?
Got a nice digital dashboard, easy to read.
Man, Wally Sanders Truck Line. We got competitive pay. We got Blue Cross Blue Shield. We can get you home, Wally Sanders. Come drive for the best today. Wally Sanders Truck Line.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
The World Series got canceled.
Yeah. Welcome back to Today in LA with Mike Amos. I'm Forrest Lee, and on the phone and that you can see through Skype, FaceTime, or whatever his son Michael calling in from.
I think the word's called Zoom.
Zoom. And
I'm zooming in.
Yeah.
So the World Series got rained out, I'm seeing, for us?
Yes. Is it being played in Philadelphia this time? It's 1-1.
Yeah, they played the first two games in Houston. Now they are going to Philadelphia to play, I think, 2 or 3 games in a row. Also had Monday Night Football last night. The Browns beat the Bengals.
They
blew them out, 32-13.
I saw
Joe Burrow got hurt.
Really? Bad?
No, I'm wondering if he did.
Oh.
I'm surprised. But
I don't know. I don't know, but they were saying that this delay has helped the Phillies and their pitching staff, but at the same time, it's going to help the Astros and their pitching staff as well as far as rest. But Steve Kemp this morning, we'll thank him for what he does with the studio. But he mentioned this sensational move that was made in NASCAR at the NASCAR race in Martinsville this past weekend. It was like a video move. And a fellow by the name of Ross Chastain, you need to pull it up. Ross Chastain purposely hit the wall and floored it, turned it to 5th gear. And what that did, he bypassed about 5 or 6 cars. He was going like 60 miles faster than anybody by putting it in 5th gear and just.
Uncle Joel Amos was big in NASCAR.
Yeah. So that's Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Chris Bell, and that move by Ross Chastain. What it did, it knocked Denny Hamlin out of the chance to win. What's it called, Mike? I mean, Steve, it's not the NASCAR. The chase. To win the chase.
Yeah, the chase for the cup.
The chase for the cup. And,
I had a chance in my Spirits days back in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. We had a chance to do the Dale Jarrett driving experience. So we could all drive a race car at Talladega. And all these guys I worked with were all fired up and all excited about it. I mean, I think you can go like 120, 140 miles an hour in a race car at Talladega. And I don't know if I chickened out of it that day or had the flu or something. I got sick all of a sudden, just couldn't make it. But I didn't want any part of driving a race car around Talladega, even though a guy was going to be sitting next to me while I did it. But that tells you how much I'm into NASCAR right there.
Well, I'm lucky. My first car was a 1971 Ford LTD. It was a 4-door. I bought it from a gentleman by the name of R.G. Warren. It had 106,000 miles on it. And I would fly down dirt roads like nobody's business, and I'm so fortunate I didn't hit anyone or a ditch or a tree. But with the championships in high school football, I want to mention this. The championships are November the 30th. 7A football plays their championship that day, along with the Alabama High School Flag Football Championship game. I'll try to research to see how many high school teams are involved in flag football, but that championship starts at 3 o'clock on Wednesday, November the 30th, and the 7A championship game is at 7 o'clock. This will be held in Auburn on November the 30th. On Thursday, December the 1st, the 3A championship's at 11 o'clock, and we hope Pike County is in that one. The 3A championships are at 3 o'clock, and we hope Brantley is in that one. Now, the 5A championship on Thursday, December the 1st, we hope Charles Henderson is in that one. We have other local schools in it. We're going to mention those in a minute. But on Friday, December the 2nd, the 4A championship is at 11 o'clock. The 2A championship, we've got several local teams vying for that championship slot. That's at 3 o'clock on Friday, December the 2nd. And on December the 2nd at 7 o'clock, it's the 6A championships. The Alabama Public TV will broadcast the Alabama State High School football championships live from Jordan-Hare Stadium that week of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. What channel is that, Steve, for us? APT, but we'll try to research that for you. But locally, in 1A, we have Georgiana, it's at Leroy. But more local, we have South Choctaw at Brantley. Again, we want the best for Elba. Choctaw County's at Brantley this week. Southern Choctaw is at Elba. That's 1A. And 2A, Wicksburg is at J.U. Blackshear. St. Luke's Episcopal out of Mobile will be traveling to G.W. Long to Skipperville. Chickasaw out of Mobile will be traveling to Ayrton this weekend. Isabella is at Highland Home. Where is Isabella? Is that up north above Montgomery?
Yeah, I want to say it is.
Okay. Luverne travels to Vincent. In 3A.
Yeah, Vincent's around Tuscaloosa.
Okay. In 3A, Strawn's at Thomasville. Of course, St. James will host Walter Welburn. W.S. Neal and Hugh Fountain will be at Opp. Mobile Christians.
Wow, isn't that crazy? So Fountain's going to go against Mike DeVos as well.
That's pretty neat, yeah. So that'll be at Opp. And Opp's the number 1 or number 2 seed in that area. Mobile Christians at Houston Academy. Sachs is at Trinity Presbyterian out of Montgomery. Pike County travels to Excel. Excel got beat by a team in Florida last week for their first loss. It was a close game, so good luck to Pike County. They lost a heartbreaker to Houston Academy, but Pike County's...
A friend of mine last night, he's a Houston Academy graduate. He was amazed that they were undefeated this year.
Mm-hmm. And Pike County's getting better and better and better and better each week. Alabama Christian travels to Randolph County. In 4A, Jackson's at Andalusia. Bayside Academy is at Montgomery Catholic. Montgomery Academy is at T.R. Miller. Now we get to 5A, our local teams.
Montgomery Catholic, I guess, is undefeated.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They beat Andalusia to win that area. And so Andalusia is hosting Jackson, and Montgomery Catholic is hosting Bayside. In 5A, locally, Carroll of Ozark travels to Gulf Shores, who finished second in their area. Faith Academy is in Maplesville. Okay, Isabella is in Maplesville, which is around Chilton County or close to
which is where Mike Amos and Michael Amos' favorite barbecue place is, Jim's Barbecue.
Okay.
On the way to Tuscaloosa.
Okay. Faith Academy is at Eufaula. Faith Academy is out of Mobile. Williamson out of Mobile travels to play Charles Henderson. That game will be at Memorial Stadium. this Friday night at 7 o'clock. Phil the Vet. Coach Hambright.
Wally and Neil will be live on Troy Cable. Do we know, Steve?
Not going to be live, but we are recording it, and it will be on at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
Okay. Again,
Okay.
the Channel 2 will film it, but not live. Then on Saturday morning, it will be replayed on Troy Cable Channel 2.
Yeah, so it's basically like the old school days of filming a game and then playing it in that morning. That's what Troy Cable used to always do it before they went live.
Yeah. When you get to the playoffs, the restrictions apply in the Alabama High School Athletic Association. They have I don't think you could film live. They have sold those rights to someone else. Right. Yeah. Their organization strings it's what Steve mentioned, but you can film it with a fee, and then you can replay it later. That's how it works. And
I called games in the grade 2014 season up until the state championship game, and I'll never forget we couldn't call that game in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and that would have been a dream to call a game in Bryant-Denny Stadium, but they wouldn't let us do it.
I remember that was a cold day. That was a
yeah.
very cold day. And again, also in 5A.
That was a cold day for Charles Henderson's offense, too. Don Jacobs, man, I'll never forget that performance by Aniano that day. I didn't think anybody could slow Charles Henderson down, but they did.
You know, that was their third in a row, Aniana. They lost the previous two, and they won the third one. And, you know, when I think about Don, I remember he lost a daughter earlier.
Oh, yeah, tragic, yeah.
So, anyway, Headland in 5A travels to UMS Wright. They're undefeated. UMS Wright is out of Mobile. They're the number one team in that area. And 6A, Spanish Fort travels to Pike Road. In 7A, Dothan is at Foley. That's in Baldwin County. And Enterprise travels to Baker, and I think that would be in Mobile County as well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And the Alabama
Enterprise really had a good year.
Mm-hmm. In the Alabama Independent School Association this Friday, Wilcox Academy will travel to Crenshaw Christian Academy. In AA, Macon East will be at Clark Prep. So in the AISA, you got to win 3 games to win it all. That's how it works.
I think I saw the other day, for that Lee Scott out of Opelika was undefeated football this year.
Well, as a matter of fact, the Alabama Independent School Association is losing members. They have a 1, 2, and 3A. In some of the playoffs, somebody is getting a bye. And you have to look at the bracket. It's kind of odd, but most teams got to win 3 games to win it all. And
yeah, you're starting to see the factor of Pilot Arts leaving and Tuscaloosa Academy leaving in the same year. You're seeing a lot of programs that were not football powerhouses all of a sudden coming out of the blue being pretty good all of a sudden. So.
You know, and to Tuscaloosa Academy's credit, they joined a little bit earlier than Pike Liberal Arts did. Now they are in a region or in an area. I believe they're 2A. They have made the playoffs. So
oh wow, really?
I don't have it in front of me, but we can look it up. But so when they played everybody, it was a pretty even match. Now there was a couple of teams that beat them pretty good, but they finished better than 500 because they were playing people of their same classification, so to speak. But one thing we want to mention again, when a school decides to join the Alabama High School Athletic Association and they are a private school or a parochial school, they multiply your students by a factor, and that might bump you up. Say normally if you're 1A, that might bump you up to 2A. Okay, that's how that works. So we feel like, so in baseball, basketball, and golf, Pike Liberal Arts is 2A. And after next year, they're going to reevaluate all the schools in Alabama, and they will reclassify you again. We hope to stay 2A. Now, as if you win a championship, let's use Bayside Academy as an example. We got a caller. Hang on a minute. Let's see. Hang on a minute. Let's see. Welcome to Today in L.A.
Hey, Forrest, it's Will Matthews.
Hey, Mr. Will. Good morning. Michael's calling in from Florida, and you got me and Michael this morning. Good morning.
Will, you've been calling the Auburn. Hartson didn't have a shot, and now he's actually fired. What's your opinion on Auburn? Where do you think they go next?
I know where they're going. I don't know whether the guys they're going will come to Auburn. That's the problem. They're going to Lane Kiffin first.
Lane Kiffin?
They're going to go to Lane Kiffin first. And I think Lane Kiffin's going to turn around and say, all right, Ole Miss, you need to pony up. And they will.
Yeah. I was thinking it would be a leverage move.
Yeah, he'll use Ole Miss, and they'll pay him, which they ought to.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Hugh Freeze, it's my understanding they'd have to pay Liberty $20 or $30 million to get Hugh Freeze, and that's crazy.
Well, Liberty just signed him to a 8-year contract for $40 million, making $5 million a year. Liberty, we always want to leave Liberty. You're making $5 million a year.
Well, the thing is, Michael, Auburn would have to pay Liberty.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that.
What about Dion?
Yeah, Dion is a weird. I mean, I think he could win because I think he could recruit unbelievable, but I don't know if Dion would want to deal with the politics of Auburn. That might be different egos being involved. I mean, Dion's an extremely confident, cocky person. I don't know if he would.
Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, sir. You're good.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd like the politics of having to deal with Auburn. So,
Michael, can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, sir. We got you.
We hear you good.
Okay. I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're not going to believe this. I know John Cohen really well. His daddy taught me in law school.
Really?
His sister, yes, at Alabama Law School. His daddy taught there for 35, 40 years. He died about 10 or 15 years ago. John was a great baseball player. And he grew up in Tuscaloosa. And he went to Mississippi State to play baseball. And that's how he got started.
Under the legendary coach over there.
And he played pro baseball too for a little while. Never really made it. Then he got into coaching, and he was coaching at Mississippi State at one time. He's coaching at Kentucky at one time.
Yeah, he was coaching at Kentucky, coaching Mississippi State. Then he ended up taking the AD job. Auburn's going to pay him $1.5 million to be athletic director. That's a pretty good bit of money for AD.
Well, they basically doubled his salary, so I don't blame him going. Who he's going to hire? I know who I would hire, but I'm not in the business. But I'd hire Coach Prime and not even look back.
I think he can deal. I think he can deal with the politics.
Everybody in America would be excited about.
And I'm gonna tell you, he would recruit like you wouldn't believe at Auburn.
I believe you're right.
He'd have Bo Jackson, and Charles Barkley flying with him all over the country to get 5-star players.
Exactly. And they would be an immediate contender next year.
Oh, yeah, he can use that transfer portal. And, in fact, he can bring his own son, who is a great quarterback, and his other son's a good player, too. His other son's a good player.
His other son is the starting safety, but he originally was at South Carolina.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, interesting, if Dan Mullen would be in the mix as well. Mullen was with Cohen at Mississippi State. Then Mullen left to take the Florida job. Of course, a lot of bad things happened in Florida for Mullen, but, he's a pretty good football coach. That's a name you might want to look at as well.
Michael, can you look up and see when John took over as AD at Mississippi State? What year?
They say he's been there for 8 years.
Okay, well, Mullen was there in 16, I know, because I was a delegate for Trump to Cleveland, and Coach Mullen's wife was a delegate with me, and I got to know her. She was from Mississippi, delegate, and I got to know her up there. And, in fact, we were having lunch one day with Mike Pence's wife, who ended up being the vice president. And
that's right, yeah.
Couple folks from Alabama. And she was saying, I love Starkville so much, and our girls love Starkville. And I said, look, you blow that stuff in somebody's face, but you can't blow it in my face. The minute somebody offers him a bunch of millions of dollars, he's gone and you're gone with him. And she said, oh, no, and he was gone that year. After that season.
The one thing about Mullen, Auburn fans will not like, he's like 0-11 against Alabama. Counting Mississippi State and Florida. So he's never beat Alabama.
And Florida and Mississippi State was number 1 in the country one year, and we beat them.
Yeah, he's 56 years. He's 56 years old, born in Tuscaloosa. He has his bachelor's degree from Mississippi State and his master's from University of Missouri. He played at Birmingham Southern. This is your AD. He played at Birmingham Southern, Mississippi State, and Visalia Oaks. Coaching career, Missouri, Northwestern State, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State. So that's a little bit about the athletic director.
And his daddy,
go ahead.
He taught me, I had 3 or 4 classes with him in law school. And another interesting thing, he's Jewish.
Yeah.
And so now he'll be over there with Bruce Pearl. They're probably the only 2 Jewish people in Auburn.
It says his wife is Nellie or Nell Bashinsky.
That's his sister.
It says, Cohen is originally from Tuscaloosa, as is his wife, Nell Bashinsky Cohen.
Okay, that's Nettie.
Nellie? Is it Nellie?
Nettie is his sister. I went to law school with her, too.
Yeah, this is a Nellie or Nell Bashinsky Cohen. They have a son and daughter. Cohen is Jewish.
Yeah.
So.
That's going to be interesting to see. I know him and Thompson, the baseball coach, I think coached together as well. They have a relationship. And then him and Pearl. It's going to be interesting.
Auburn's
going to be
Auburn's going to have to pay at least $8 million probably for the new head coach, maybe 9. So
I'm just wondering, the guy from Carolina, Matt Rule.
Yeah,
I think he would be a good coach.
His name's on the list on an article out of Alabama.com or CBS Sports.
And coached at Baylor. I don't know if you've got many SEC ties. I wouldn't be jumping up and down about that hire. I'd go Kiffin first, and then I would. I think Beamer at South Carolina's done a good job. They didn't look good against Missouri this past weekend. I think Clawson at Wake Forest, would be somebody I'd look at. Mullen is, a possibility. Deion's the guy you ought to choose nationally. Recruiting-wise, I feel like it would be a slam dunk. I guarantee Saban would not want to have to go up against Deion on recruit. His greatest, Saban's the greatest recruiter of all time, probably. But Deion, all these people idolized him, all these players idolized him growing up.
Everybody thinks Saban's the greatest coach in history. Well, he's not that great a coach. He's a great recruiter. I mean, if he had the players Auburn's got, How many games do you think he'd win if he had Auburn's roster?
He'd probably go 8-4, Lewis.
Yeah, but that's the problem. He's got superior talent. And to win, you got to get superior talent. That's how Bowden was very successful at Florida State, getting superior talent.
Florida State plays Miami this weekend, don't they? I believe that's right.
They do.
Miami's program has just exploded.
Yeah,
I never thought Cristobal would have a losing season this year. I thought at worst they'd probably go like maybe 7-5, but not like this.
Well, what about
They're horrible.
What about how long do you think Jimbo will last at A&M if he keeps losing?
They can't get rid of him.
Just owe him too much money.
There's a few Texas old Titans that could buy him out. $86 million is not a lot to them.
Did you know, Michael, that Kevin Summerlin had a better record than Jimbo Fisher?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was reading some stats the other day. They're showing during the game the other night, they had not scored over 24 points in like 20 games, their offense.
Yeah.
That's how bad
Jimbo's calling the plays.
Yeah.
FSU is a 7.5 point favorite over Miami in Miami.
Yeah, there's been over $72 million paid to coaches so far this year for buyouts. $72 million.
And that counts.
Hartson's getting 15.5. Frost at Nebraska's getting 15. Collins at Georgia Tech's getting 11.3. Chris at Wisconsin's getting 11. Durrell at Colorado's getting 8.7. Herm Edwards at Arizona State's getting 8. And even the coach from Charlotte is getting 1.5.
And Malzahn's still getting his from way back when.
That's right, yeah.
They're still buying him out.
Well, they're still paying Chisnick, too. They'll be paying him several more years.
Chisnick's the defensive coordinator in North Carolina. North Carolina's only lost one game.
They got a good team.
What about Syracuse and Notre Dame, Will? I'm sorry. Clemson goes to Notre Dame.
I'm thinking this is the game Clemson loses. If they can win this game, they've got a cakewalk the rest of the year. And Notre Dame is not that good, but they're at home. You never know.
Change the tune just a second. The Peanut Butter Festival starts this week, and the credit union has announced the second annual All-In Credit Union Night. The first 10,000 people.
Yeah. How many people tonight, Will, are going to watch Ball State and Kent State on ESPNU? The Maction is starting up this week. They got a game tonight at 6 and a game tonight at 6:30. Buffalo and Ohio play. Then they got a game tomorrow night, Central Michigan against Northern Illinois, and they've got Western Michigan against Bowling Green. You got football every night, folks.
You'll have people that bet on it will be watching it.
Yeah, the games are not great until you've got UTEP Rice is not going to be any good, but then you got Appalachian State traveling to Coastal on Thursday night, so that'll be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I like Coastal. I like their team.
Yeah, and then you got a few games after that. On Friday, you got Duke against Boston College, UMass against UConn, Oregon State against a pretty good Washington team. But great week for football. I can't wait.
Going to Kent State, their first 4 games involved Washington, Oklahoma, and Georgia, and they cleared over $5 million by going to those 3 places. Kent State did.
That's where Saban played. That's where I think Lute Holt's alma mater.
Coach Saban was in a dining hall or close by when that the massacre at Kent State took place. He was on campus at the time.
Wow.
You can read that in his
I've read that
Wikipedia. Yeah.
It's hard to believe that Texas A&M is a favorite against Florida.
I'm gonna tell you, Michael, Florida's terrible.
A&M's terrible.
They're both terrible. That's going to be a terrible game, really. That's got to be. Is that going to be the 11 o'clock game, probably?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings for Tennessee, Georgia will probably be the biggest ratings of the year, I would imagine.
That ticket's about a $500 ticket, the cheapest ticket that I saw, when I looked up CBS Sports, tickets going for $500.
I saw something on the
Sanford Stadium that holds 93,000, so that will be a tough ticket.
I saw something on StubHub, and they were about StubHub, and they were urging the Georgia people not to sell their tickets on StubHub because the Tennessee people were buying them at any price.
Oh, sure.
To change that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Down here at the beach where I live, I mean, it's literally like every single Tennessee fan that's come out of the woodwork. There's so many people from Tennessee down here that have homes or are on vacation here year round, and it's just amazing. Everywhere you go is Tennessee. Yeah, that line opened in Vegas, 12.5 for Georgia. It's going all the way down to 8.5 already.
I would think it's going to be under a touchdown before it's over with.
Can you imagine if you would have got it at 12.5?
I would have loved
it. I guarantee a lot of people were like, just wait.
It's whoever offensive line can scrum the best, like in rugby. They're the scrummingest offenses you ever want to see, where they'll just all pile up and just wad down the field.
Well, if Tennessee can protect Hooker, Tennessee will win the game if they can keep them off of it.
I think the key would be Georgia controlling the offensive ball and just burning the clock. But anyway.
I tell you, Stetson Bennett can definitely throw some interceptions. He had 2 this past weekend, and some games he looks like he's an All-American, and then some games he looks like he's a JV. Some of the mistakes he makes, but Georgia's running attack. Georgia's running attack is good enough, I think, to keep Tennessee off the field and just have long drives throughout the game.
Yeah, if they do that, they can beat them easily, probably.
Yeah. Well, the high school playoffs going this weekend. High school basketball is about to start, and Troy University's men's basketball team will play at home Monday. They're going to play. Let's see, who do I have? I got it right here in front of me. They'll play Montevallo at 6 o'clock, and the women will play in Birmingham against Sanford at 4:30 at the Hannah Center basketball center. Their coaches, our coach is Chandra Rigby, but the women have a fantastic schedule. They're going to Hawaii pretty soon, but basketball's around the corner. High school football playoffs are here, and it's
Charles Henderson play.
Charles Henderson will host Williamson, and also we have. Let me pull this up.
Who's Carroll and Ozark playing?
I'm gonna go with that.
Gulf Shores.
Right.
Gulf Shores.
Oh man, that'll be a real tough game.
Yeah, we got Carroll. Yeah, Carroll.
Gulf Shores' coach used to be the head coach at Louisiana Lafayette and at UNF.
And they've got a couple of assistants that have college experience.
Yeah, Kenny Edenfield, whose wife's from Troy, the Dramus family, and but Carroll's at Gulf Shores. Faith Academy's at Eufaula, Headland's at UMS Wright Prep in Mobile, and Williamson is at Charles Henderson. That's in our area in 5A. So it's going to be, there'll be very few upsets in high school football the first week.
Yeah, Williamson scares me though. I mean, they just played UMS Wright, who was undefeated, only got beat 17-8. Anytime you got to play a Mobile school, you know they're going to be loaded with athletes. So Charles Henderson will have to come out and play a great game to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm predicting one upset in the playoffs Friday night. Houston Academy is undefeated. They're 10-0. They're playing a team from Mobile that is maybe 2-8 or 3-7, something like that. And that team will beat Houston Academy.
Mobile Christian. It's Mobile Christian.
Oh, wow, that's right, yeah. So they had to forfeit. Man, you're right
So they made
Yeah,
it?
you might be right, Will. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
That's Ronnie Cottrell. That's right.
Ronnie Cottrell.
Ronnie
Cottrell
Yep.
was at Alabama, and he coached at Carroll High and had great teams at Carroll High.
He got it started at Troy University as a graduate assistant. I've known him for years.
Yeah, we took physical
Ronnie's
education
a
classes.
good guy.
Yeah. It's at Florida State. There you
Yeah,
go.
man, you might be right calling that one, Will. Because
Thank
you know they're going to have athletes.
I wish I wasn't going out of town because I'd go down and watch that one.
Of course, I guess we need to wrap it up, man. It's 8 o'clock. Gets here quick.
Yeah, pretty quick. Well, thank you for calling, Will, and call anytime.
Good talking to y'all.
Thank you for calling. And Mike, we hope you have a good day, you and your family. But again, real quick.
Yeah, we're finally done with Halloween. I'm going to have a real good day.
Well, today's the first day of November again. You got about 54 days left till Christmas. Don't forget, go by the Salvation Army to get your camp stew, sign up to be a bell ringer. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in the morning for Today in LA. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you later.